What's up, Indubians? I just wanted to jump in to give a quick little announcement about this particular episode that you're about to hear, which was recorded live. Like we literally did like a whole live stream video, which I am going to try to take off the interwebs. You could probably still find it, but I will put it exclusively on the Patreon. So if you do want to go back and watch it, you can watch it for probably $1. And that's not too much, right? Just $1? That's good. Yeah. But you're going to hear the episode now pretty much uncut. I don't think I've changed too much. I do know there was some audio issues, and for whatever reason, I don't know why this always happens. And Kortney and I have always talked about this, that there's always some kind of weird delay when it comes to recording with her. But you will notice, some kind of delay with her from time to time. And we're aware of it. And we're also aware of the hissing sound that I may or may not have removed or been able to remove. But that's also there, too. I think while I do still have your attention, I did not make too much notice of this. But do check out the Indube store when you get a chance, indube.com/store. And, pick up some merchandise because it is holiday time and you want to get your things before it gets too late. Our top sellers have been the Living Singles shirt, the Girlfriends shirt, Support Black Women shirt. And I'm trying to think, there's one other one that I cannot remember right now at the top of my head. But go to the Indube store and go check those out. Get those T-shirts. I do not recall at this time if I had switched it. So you can not only get T-shirts that say these things, but also mugs and other things you can have, the stuff printed on. Because in my head, I envisioned it as a T-shirt, but then I saw someone with a mug with the same kind of, design. I'm like, that's pretty cool. I guess that can work as a mug. Why not? Why limit myself, So with all that said, I do definitely want you to enjoy this special Thanksgiving/Friendsgiving episode. I hope you all had a very safe and enjoyable holiday, or the best, you made the most of it that you could. And with that said, I'm also going to just throw in here, this might be the last episode of 2020. To make a long story short, I just got a new apartment, which I will be moving into. So with all of the moving processes, I may not necessarily have time to record a new episode. And it's also holiday time. So I don't really want to pressure too many people. It's like, hey, can you record? Let's record. Let's do a podcast. Because, we all have lives and families and, festivities and whatnot. Plus, again, like I said, I'm moving. So I may not have the time. But if I do, then you will hear one more episode before 2020 ends. And if not, I will see you all in January. And hopefully, safely. And, you, again, spend time with your loved ones and make sure you mask up and be safe because, it's craziness out there. But once again, I thank you all so much for listening. And please do share this episode with friends and family. And, don't forget to reach out, too. And not only just to me, but all my friends as well that have been on this episode. And, without further ado, let us continue the show or get on with it. Great. That wasn't right.
I like it though.
The Indube Podcast.
Good morning, Indubians. I'm T. Sterling Watson.
I'm Vilissa Thompson.
I'm Kortney. I'm Neysha.
I'm Janelle Belgrave.
And I'm Nick.
This is the Indube Podcast Live, where morning drive time meets late night talk show as we aim to entertain, enlighten, and provide an auditory escape. With knowledge and nonsense. Thank you for stopping by and pressing play. We're recording live, literally live, from the south side of Wakanda in Little New Indubia on the corner of T'Chaka and MLK Drive. Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Hello.
What's going on?
Hello.
Happening.
Yes, we are here doing a special Friendsgiving Day episode, and I asked you all here, first of all, what did you bring to eat? Start with Vilissa, if you brought anything.
Well, since I am not a cook, I bring the drinks. So I would have wine and probably something caffeinated, like maybe Sprite or Pepsi, for those who may not partake.
All right, very well, very well. Kortney, what do you got?
So I bring a side dish because I'm pretty good at side dishes, not so much main dishes these days. But I bring a um, broccoli, rice, and cheese casserole. And if I'm feeling real spicy, I'll bring an apple pie for dessert. But I've never made an apple pie, so like it's probably store bought. But I don't tell people that. I mean, make it look as if I did it myself. I mean, I did it myself. Maybe I'm confident enough to try it at home, but probably not bring it to friendsgiving because I know y'all will judge me. But that's also why I don't tell y'all that it's store bought. So, yeah.
Well, I'm going to take note because since you told me, and then I'm going to be like, this tastes a little bit like Walmart. So, but I'm still going to eat it. I'm still going to eat it though. So don't worry. And Neysha, I know you're making something because
I am. I brought that cinnamon roll cake that I brought last year because I told you I was supposed to actually ship you one by now. So my bad.
Yeah, I wasn't going to bring that part up, but since you did, we're just going to go ahead.
It'll be there by Christmas, though. I promise.
Hey, you may not want to promise that because, with the way things are, That's
true. I'll send you the recipe, though. But yes, I will bring my giant cinnamon roll.
No, I don't want the recipe. No.
I'm trying to help you, friend.
Well, I know that, but I want to taste like the love that you put into it and the deliciousness, and because I'll mess it up. I won't make it correctly. So I need, yeah.
I got you. Okay. I'll make it happen. But that's what I brought this year. And maybe my mama's mac and cheese. I didn't make it. She made it.
Hey, I'll take it as long as it's, tasty and good. So it's all good. Janelle, what are you bringing?
You guys can choose from the variety of things I've been stress baking. So this week was 2-ingredient chocolate cake. I also made a pear apple tart. Then there were carrot cake cupcakes with cream cheese frosting. So, it's up to you. We got wine. I'm all about us indulging and having some sweet stuff after the year that we've survived.
Yeah, I know that's right.
So no one says I'm not having that. I'm going to have some ice cream. We're having cake. We're doing it all.
Yes.
This is going to be a great meal already. Nick, what are you bringing?
I think I'm going to bring some of my mom's shrimp salad. And if, people don't eat seafood, I will bring, I don't know, edibles.
Very well. Okay. Well, I guess since I'm hosting, I will recruit my dad to deep fry a turkey because that's the really only way I eat turkey. And I don't know, salmon just to mix things up a little bit because those who follow me on Twitter long enough, especially like not last year but the year before, I just was on a salmon craze. So why not just salmon for everyone? Because it's delicious. It's great. So yeah, we are here to also discuss the continuation, I suppose, of the last episode we talked about gingerbread. I'm just jumping right in with this particular thing. And what should I start with? Kortney, was I talking about the gingerbread Oreos in my search for them in the last episode? I don't recall.
You were, and you... Yeah, I don't know if it was the last episode, but you were talking about it, and you were saying, I think you were saying that you had told me about this before, but I don't recall it. And then, but I was very invested because I do believe in gingerbread. That's, one of the best sweets out there, and cookies. So, yeah. Then I found out that you found them, right?
I did, and here they are.
Ooh.
Yes, you're right. This episode is brought to you by Gingerbread. Now, really quick, I don't care for these that much, so I know. After all of that, all of the searching, so
after all of that,
I know. And it's going to come off as controversial, but as I know, as a as a broadcaster or someone who's on the radio, someone who, has to have an opinion, I have an opinion about these. They're just a little too sweet for me. And it's probably the cream because, that's my controversy there. I know.
Wow.
I know. It's rough. And you do taste the crunchies. I want to take that back because I know I did a video on Twitter the night I tried them. And after eating a couple more, I'm like, okay, yeah, they are still super sweet, but the crunchies are, they're fun, but I can do without them. Yeah, they're very crunchy and almost a little too sweet. So with that, I just want to say that I happily went to, I can only find these at Walgreens. I don't know if that's all over the country or if it's just in the Northeast. I don't know some of these stores. These other gingerbread cookies by whatever company this is. They only come out during Christmas time. And I'm so happy that they're back. And this podcast is also brought to you by Stouffer's gingerbread cookies. But those aren't my favorite. These shortbread cookies are my favorite. And I bought 3 bags of these because they go quickly. And I want to savor them. I want to make them last. So 2 or 3 cookies, if I can, handle it per hour. And then, I'm good. So, but that's not all. No.
What?
These cookies. Yes. I don't even know what these taste like, but these are the Walker's brand pure butter shortbread gingerbread mint. So I will try those later. There's a story attached to the Walker's brand, which I think I'm going to leave as a teaser because there is someone, I went out on a couple dates with someone named Afia. That is not her real name. I changed it to protect the guilty. So they really enjoyed the regular shortbread version of those cookies, and she brought me some on our first date. And I wasn't all that impressed with it. So I'm like, okay, well, good for you. These are tasty, whatever. Thank you for the cookies. And that was that. But I saw this brand, so I'm like, let me try them out. Maybe these are much better. So we shall see. But that's for later. And that story, it's a longer story. That's for another day.
Was that the reason why you broke up with her? The cookie quality?
Not at all, but that was the start.
That was started the downhill.
Exactly. Yes.
A bad omen.
It was. And I mean, it took me a long time to finish that pack of cookies too, because I'm like, well, they're here. The cookies.
You still finished them. That's impressive.
Eventually, yes. Yeah.
Come on, follow through.
That's commitment.
I mean, my parents taught me to never pass up free food. So I'm like, I'm not going to waste it.
Wow.
The cookies weren't trash. The person who gave it to me,
Oh no!
No, they weren't terrible. They were edible. They came through. I was like, oh man, I need a hit of some sugar or a snack or something. And these cookies. And I'm like, Afia, thank you, I guess? ? But it came through until I was able to get some other nutrients, some better cookies.
Did you at least repurpose the cookies, make it into a crust?
That would have been a great idea.
See, next time.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
All the leftover cookies you don't like, maybe you make it into a new crust and make a pie.
I like that. I like that. Sorry, now you got me thinking because
See, the benefits of stress baking ideas.
Oh, I love it. I need to incorporate that in a cheesecake, I think.
See?
So that would be good.
Ooh, a no-bake cheesecake.
Ooh.
Oh, there you go.
Cheesecake?
Well. Since we're talking about baking, I think what we're going to do is go into Sheboygan news because I read a quick post, and hold on a second. Got our little Sheboygan jingle.
Good morning, Sheboygan.
There we go. Hey, I got the jingles. I have to use them. So
I like that.
So I actually don't have the article anymore because Sheboygan Press only allows you to read 3 articles before they make you start paying for it. So I cannot go back and read it. But they were having what they call the Pie Hard 2020. So it's a whole contest or basically the top pie of the year. So I can give you the 4 finalists, and I want each of you to guess, or rather, not even guess, but pick what you think the winner is or should be. And the top 4 finalists are cherry, apple, pumpkin, and definitely not my favorite, but my favorite way to pronounce it, pecan. Sorry, it's pecan for those who don't know.
Pecans.
Oh my gosh.
Pecan.
Blasphemous. What is wrong with you? Oh my goodness.
Hey, it's what I do.
Sorry.
So which,
Very
I'm sorry,
sorry.
if all of you, like if you, what were your favorites or your favorite out of those 4?
Oh, out of those 4.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have to choose one?
I don't like pie.
Well, the way that the poll worked, and I was actually able to vote in the last round and used up like my last free article, and that was you can only choose one. So yes, you can only choose one out of those 4.
Well, I've never had cherry pie before, so I can't speak to that.
Okay.
Pecan is really sweet. Pumpkin is really seasonal, but I love apple all the time. So, a really good apple pie can be really good, in my opinion. So I'd go for apple.
Okay.
Apple too.
Apple.
Can't go wrong.
I mean, it can go wrong, but.
Oh, well.
5 of those 4 for me. Can't go.
I'll have to choose apple, I guess, if I have to. I mean, I'm not a big pie fan as it is.
Okay. Neysha, Kortney?
Definitely apple for me as well.
Mm.
I don't like any kind of pie at all. But I do like slow pecan pie. I don't believe in warm fruit. I don't believe in eating warm. I tried pie once. I'm like, this is just warm fruit and sugar. Like, it smells good, and I love to bake pies, but I do not like the texture on my tongue. I don't mess with it. But peach cobbler, that's different. But yeah, no, I'd pick pecan.
Okay.
So, question: how does peach cobbler not count as warm fruit?
Because it's my mama.
No fear.
Yeah.
All right.
I've snuck around the warm fruit when I eat her peach cobbler. She knows to leave a section with just like a lot of the sauce and a lot of the crust.
So you like the dough and the syrup?
Yep.
That's pretty much how my mother. She likes the doughiness, like the topping. Because I do make apple pie, so I'll make sure that it's like really doughy on the top, and she loves that stuff. The fruit, not so much, I guess. But I will say that apple pie was knocked out of the finalist, and what was left, apple pie and cherry pie were knocked out. So what was left was pumpkin and pecan. So I voted, and the voting actually ends tonight. Or today, whatever. It ends now. And last I checked, I can probably project the winner being pumpkin pie, being the winner of 2020, at least in Sheboygan. So
That fixes him.
yeah. So there you have it. And I don't know what the other entries were, but I know cherry, it wasn't usually a finalist. I guess last year it was between pumpkin and apple. So I would have chose apple as well because those are good. But that's it. That's what's going on in Sheboygan this week. There's more stuff going on, but that's the only thing I found actually interesting to read out of my few articles that I had. That's not my list. We will go to our word watch for this episode, and I need my soundboard just for 2 seconds.
Word watch.
That's it. Today's word comes from that lovely email I get. Although I do get people who submit words to me, such as Birdo. Thank you, Birdo. I think I'll use your word next week or next episode. But today's word is pros. Hold on a second. I was practicing this earlier, and now I already forgot how to pronounce it. Prospicinas. Wow. Prospicinas. There we go. It is the action of looking forward or foresight. And wanted to use this word because it's been such a year that we are starting to look forward to hopefully a better year, but we still will kind of look back, at some of the good things. In fact, that's what I want to ask you all. Something that has been bringing you joy this year. And we'll go clockwise, so we'll start with Vilissa.
Man, I think for me, what's brought me joy is being freelance and just being able to carve my own path, and how it's been good for my mental health, just to be on my own and just trying new things and taking risks, just seeing where I land. So just basically trusting in me has been the best thing for this year.
Good. Kortney?
So I would say what's bringing me joy this year is, yes, the pandemic has really shut a lot of things down, and but for me, it's really helped me to go inside and be very introspect about what it is I want to actually do in life. And so that a lot of that has kind of translated into finishing up projects that I've started, or starting projects that I've put aside and haven't set aside the time before to actually do them. So, a lot of home improvement projects got started, and, I'm really seeing the benefits of completing those projects. And, because I'm home a whole lot more these days, it's really helping my space be more of a sanctuary. It was a sanctuary before, but now it's even more so. Just a place of sanctuary and peace, and, for me. And so I've also been able to put a lot more time into my most precious project, which is my novel, and revising it and getting it ready for its next steps. So that's been something that's brought me a lot of joy, just my projects, and particularly my book baby.
Book baby. Oh. And Neysha, what's been bringing you joy?
For me, what's been bringing me joy is my own space. I bought my first place, and I'd never realized how much joy and peace of mind it can be to just have all of this be mine. It's been a blessing, and I feel like it's brought me a lot of joy. But like kind of like what Kortney was saying, I've been able to take my time and do little projects and set things up how I want to and not feel rushed. So it's really just being able, I think it's more not just the space, but being able to control the space that I'm in. If I'm sad here, it's because I'm sad. If I'm happy here, it's because I'm happy. It's not impacted by anybody else but me.
Nice. Janelle, what's been bringing you joy?
I'd probably say something similar. A lot more time at home. So I finally got some new furniture. Just this week, I struggled and put up some new new blinds in my bedroom. And felt really, really satisfied by it. So I have a lot of joy just being in my home, which is really nice. Also, getting into my plants and taking care of them and baking more. Just a lot more creativity, a lot more joyful activities, I'd say. Enjoying my space and enjoying the things that I enjoy a lot more this year.
Good. Yeah. Nick?
I think for me, it's been a reevaluation of myself. Because when everything, shut down in March, it really screwed me up. And, to this day, I find sometimes I'll find myself crying or upset. And I've tried to get my emotions in check. I've tried to reevaluate what do I want to do in my life. as far as going back to grad school or going into law school. I want to be something that is bigger than myself. And it's not the easiest of things to do, and it's very actualization is such a tough thing in itself that it's been a process, and it continues to be a process.
I agree. It definitely is. And there's been a lot of struggles for everyone because we're all struggling to get through this year in our own way. And but glad for all of you. And I'll probably keep repeating myself. I'm glad all of you took some time to hang out with me this evening, just to, hang out with me in my nonsense. And and things bringing me joy. Just in case he's watching, Kendrick, he's a bundle of joy just bouncing around. Never thought that I would love a child as much as I love my future stepson. So yeah, he's a source of joy, and just seeing his happy little face and just his excitement over Legos that he likes to leave on the floor for me to step on. So
it's a rite of passage.
Yes,
it is. So now I understand so many other parents, and there's many times that throughout this year alone that I just want to just go to my parents and it's like, I'm so sorry for. So yeah, that's definitely something that's brought me joy, as well as gingerbread cookies. This episode again is brought to you by gingerbread cookies. So I do want to. It kind of goes between space and Spookums zone, and there was a breaking news article. So, Kortney, if you could give us some breaking news. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's not a jingle I have. That's why I have her, so she can do my breaking news.
I'm the best at
so
it,
this. You are. I legit looked for that kind of thing, and I couldn't find any. So I'm like, nope, that's going to be Kortney's job because I can't find it. So
I mean, I can record it for you, right?
You could.
Or do you prefer that way? I could just.
I like it live because that gives it more of a sense of urgency and like breakingness. So yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, I feel like it would just be weird if all of a sudden I started playing it and you're right in the middle of you talking. So. It'd be weird.
Oh, yeah, that'd be weird.
So I decided that this, and you'll understand why it falls between Spookums and space, because it's an odd thing that happened today. And those of you, like most of you, are on Twitter, so it's actually trending right now. And this is from CNN. Utah helicopter crew discovers mysterious metal monolith deep in the desert. Mm-hmm. So I found this to be very interesting because I'm like, oh, this is weird and so on brand for this year. Just random things to happen. Now, any of you have heard about this already or read about it?
I saw
the ticker,
but I didn't click on it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, I just don't touch. Don't click. Leave it alone.
Exactly.
Turn around. Not for you.
Stay away.
Well, I've opened it, read it. There's even a video which I could have shared, but I'm just going to go ahead and read this real quick. It's just a very short article. What started as routine wildlife assistance took an extraterrestrial turn for Utah's Department of Public Safety after officers stumbled upon a mysterious monolith in the middle of rural Utah. Officers from the Utah Department of Public Safety's Aero Bureau were flying by helicopter last Wednesday, helping the Division of Wildlife Resources count bighorn sheep in southeastern Utah. In case you're ever wondering what they do in Utah, that's, I guess, what they do. Shout out to the listeners in Utah. When they spotted something that seemed right out of 2001, A Space Odyssey. One of the biologists spotted it, and we just happened to fly directly over the top of it, said Brett Hutchins. And he was like, whoa, 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 turn around. And I was like, what? And he was like, there's this thing back there. We got to look at it. I'm assuming that's what they sounded like, of course, because I was there. And there it was, In the middle of the red rock was a shiny silver metal monolith sticking out of the ground. Hutchinson's guessed it was between 10 and 12 feet high. It didn't look like it was randomly dropped on the ground, he told people, but rather it looked like it had been planted. We were kind of joking around that it was one of us. Oh, sorry. Let me read that again. We were kind of joking around that if one of us suddenly disappears, then the rest of us make a run for it. That's wise. I think that goes kind of what Janelle was talking about. Just, run away. Don't engage. Well, don't even open the article, which I did. So I'm already in trouble. I'm assuming it's some new wave artist or something, somebody that was a big 2001 Space Odyssey fan, he said, referencing the 1968 film where a black monolith appears. Still, it is illegal to install structures or art without authorization on public lands, no matter what planet you're from, said the Utah Department of Public Safety, I think that is. They issued this release yesterday. The location of the monolith is not being disclosed, and it is yet clear who or what put the monolith there. As of Monday, the Bureau of Land Management will be deciding whether further investigation is needed. So, is it art or is it alien? That is the question I bring to you guys.
This reminds me of, when, oh goodness, what was it when they did the radio broadcast and it was, what were they reading? It was a story that they were reading, but
War of the World.
It was over the radio and yes, World of Warp. Thank you. And so it reminds me of that where like art is so realistic and it's so, you can't tell what's real and what's not really. And it's just interesting because if somebody did this as like an art project or, a statement piece or whatever, and here we are considering the fact that it could very well be alien tech or something. So I don't know. That doesn't really, that's not my position necessarily, but I don't know. I mean, the way this year is going, who really knows?
Anyone else want to take a stab at what they think, if it's art or alien or something else entirely? I don't know.
Personally, I don't think it matters. No, and I say that because I feel like earlier this year or even last year, they had announced like, oh, aliens are real. And everyone's just like, girl, no one cares. Like, unless they're coming to help us, like alleviate the stress, nobody cares. So if this thing is going to help us, through this mess, nobody cares.
Right.
It's art, it's aliens. It's like, girl, is it going to assist or is it going to harm? Like, which one is it?
Right. She got that COVID vaccine.
Exactly, girl. Like,
Ooh.
Oh, I love it.
In peace. What else?
What else?
Right.
What else you got?
You got another stimulus check in there? Like,
Can you get that person out that White House faster?
Like, what's going on, girl? Like, what is your resume? Like, don't just stand there being pretty in no desert, because who cares?
At least it's pretty looking.
At least it's pretty, girl. But aside from that, it's just like, okay.
I love the I'm not impressed attitude. Just like, what else? You just bring something with you. So
look, spacecraft have been flying in the sky. We're like, okay, like, can you stop the fireworks? Like, what? Like, can you mute the ambulances, girl? Like, what are you doing?
I love it.
Like, you should have came visited 10 years ago.
Yeah, at least. But that also sounds like a very New Yorker answer too. So.
Yes, that too.
Yes. Because there are things that just like don't faze New Yorkers at all. Like, what was it? I think it was last year where there was some kind of blue glowing light that was in the sky, and like they're like, okay, so
yeah. I was walking home as it was happening. I was just like, so was it aliens? I was like running through the list of things it could have been. Like,
yeah, I remember that, and everyone was fascinated except for the people that were there. So I'm like, whatever.
You were like, will the train still be working? That was our main concern.
right.
That's great. Although it seems like I don't want to bring it down, but I feel like mentioning New York, it's time to go into our Black History Fact, which is over here.
Black History.
Black History.
Black History. Black History. Facts.
I realize some of you have only heard that for the first time, but it's in every episode. So this is, I figured we would discuss, or I'll just talk about some of the highlights of Mayor David Dinkins, who recently passed away. And he is the first and so far only mayor of New York City. And some of his things, some of his accomplishments, because I was doing some research and they had it all bullet pointed before, but that just goes to show you that, hey, they can go back and update things just in a matter of hours. So, which is good because what they updated with was more details of his accomplishments. So it's actually pretty nice. So he was the mayor of New York City from 1990 to 1993. And some of the things that I saw that I liked was, he did a whole bunch of things from what I was, just a brief reading that I was learning about him in the past day, is how he helped bring crime down. I'm trying to look for where I was reading at, and it's all gone. More updates, I guess. So during his final days in office, he made last-minute negotiations with sanitation workers to preserve public status of garbage removal. Because I do remember a time when New York was not very clean. Let's see. Wow, lost all of it.
I'm pretty sure he was responsible for bringing the U.S. Open to Flushing, Queens.
Yes.
He's a big tennis fan.
That was one of them I was looking for, so thank you. But yeah, he brought a lot of different things like that, and I thought I read that under his watch is when Restaurant Week started.
Mm-hmm. And Fashion Week, too.
Fashion Week and Broadway on Broadway. And I don't know, it just seemed like a really good time to be in New York at that time. So with a lot of the stuff that he did, got a bunch of shout outs from rappers at the time.
The Fashion Week at Griffin Park?
Hmm?
The Fashion Week at Griffin Park, or?
I think just New York Fashion Week. Yeah.
Okay.
So New York Fashion Week. And what was the other one?
Restaurant Week, Broadway and Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
He made a deal, with the U.S. Open, brings more economic benefit to the city, which each year, I guess that's more than all the other New York
sports teams.
Right, combined. So, yes. Mm-hmm. All that was added because I read this yesterday and it was much shorter, and now it's much longer. That's why I'm having trouble finding all the little details that I had pointed out.
They mentioned his arch nemesis.
Oh, the one who's kind of hanging around by hooks or something. I don't know. He's strange. You're talking about Rudy, correct?
Yes, America's mayor takes credit for a lot of what Dinkins did.
Oh,
especially the crime rate. So it's actually almost a perfect mirror between Trump and Obama in a way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because Giuliani was a response to Dinkins.
The parallels between the two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one, he's. I just recently found out that I guess he has a biopic made of him, starring James Woods. So that was
about that. It was I saw with a Giuliani. Yeah, he had what I saw was like a still. It was supposed to be a romantic scene or something, and I was like, I saw Rudy Giuliani, and I was like, wait a second, like the Rudy Giuliani? But yeah, apparently he's got a biopic either out or coming out. I don't know. I completely just
said James Woods.
Right. I'm like,
right. Yeah.
Rudy Giuliani. Out, but James Woods.
He's only good for Hercules as Hades, and that's it.
And then somehow Randy Quaid is also involved, or is that a separate situation?
That's a separate situation. Randy Quaid is just weird altogether, but on a different level. Not the fun weird like all of us, but just the weird like you need to be locked away. And I think at one point he was on the run, at least I think from Canada. So you really have to be messed up to be a fugitive from Canada or of Canada. So yeah, he's out there, and Trump has been retweeting him all day. So there's that. Wow. So yeah.
Remind me not to watch The Day After Tomorrow anymore.
Yeah, I thought about. Was he? Oh,
Was that him?
That's Dennis Quaid, the Sane brother.
White people look up.
Wait. They're brothers?
And I also got one more for you, and I don't remember his name, but if any of you watched The Boys, the guy who isn't, wow, I can't remember anybody's name in that show, but oh my God, what is his name? I'm trying to do a quick Google now.
Butcher? Or...
The one who's not Butcher.
Oh. There's three other ones.
All right. Not the black guy, not Frenchie. The other guy. Huey. There it is. Jack Quaid is his name. Huey. So Randy Quaid is Jack Quaid's uncle. So there you go.
Okay.
Jack seems normal, so from what I can tell. And Dennis, he's in The Day After Tomorrow. Randy Quaid was in Independence Day. He's the one who flew his ship into the ship to blow it up.
Oh, okay. The drunk.
Right.
Was he drunk?
Okay.
I don't know. I think that's just him playing his real self. So.
Right.
Yeah. So if he was able to get a plane or a ship or something, he would definitely fly it into like a spaceship, and that would be the only thing we'd thank him for.
Yeah.
Like, thank you for that, and only that. So.
For your sacrifice, sir.
This part of the podcast is brought to you by Ancestry.com.
That and a little help with IMDb. So yes. Oh man. I don't know what topic I was on where we got to that.
We were talking about Dinkins and Giuliani.
Yes.
Correct. Yes. And how Dinkins is a much better person than all of these people we've mentioned. Yes. So, we definitely salute him and acknowledge the work he's done. And I know there's a whole lot more that I kind of skipped over, and I apologized. But normally what I'll do, I usually try to take all the notes and put it all in together so that way I can just read right through it. But I didn't do that this time. And now I've learned my lesson live on this. So we will move on. What other segment did I have left? Thought I had another one. No, that's all of them. But I do have more questions for you all. Wrong answers only. What would be the plural of sheep or deer or moose?
Cotton balls.
That's cute.
Yeah, that is cute.
That is cute. I like it.
See, now I can't, that's all I see now. It's like, there's one sheep. Oh, look, there's a whole herd of cotton balls there. As for moose, and I was kind of upset that the correct answer is moose for a plural, but I really like moosin'. Like, just throwing N at the end of it just feels right.
Moosin'? I still think
moose.
First.
Meese?
My first thought was I didn't really, it's not right. But when I hear moose, I'm like, oh, look at all those moose. I'm like, meese. But I know meese is wrong. Yeah.
I see.
Mooses. It just sounds cool. And then you envision actual chocolate mousse. Look at those mooses. Let's go have some mousse. It could be a whole advertising thing.
So let's go back to meese for a second. And is that kind of like geese? Is that what you're thinking? Okay.
That's exactly why I think about it, because I think you see goose, which is spelled like moose, and when you see more than one goose, you say geese. So it's like in my brain, I already want to say meese. Again, I know it's wrong.
Because that makes me think mouse, but just saying it really weird.
Mouses. Mouses. No, we don't use mouses. Is open. It's available.
True. But if you use mouses, wow, I can't even, that's too many S's, I think.
It's just wrong.
Yes.
It's wrong.
And deer, I just put an S on the end of it anyway, so it's deers, because I need people to know that there's more than one. I'm not talking about a deer. There are a group of deers. They're over there. I know that's incorrect, but it's just what I go with.
Because black people will put an S on everything.
Belongs there.
Yes.
Did you go to the Kroger's?
Yep. For the South.
Well,
Right.
Yeah. Into the jewels.
Right.
I also, I'd be remiss if I did not include, I think someone suggested moosin. Not moosin, I'm sorry. Moose dem? I don't know. Yeah, that's it. So that was also a suggestion at some point as I was wondering, like, hey, these could be better plurals other than just, the singular, which I don't care for. But that's why I thought I'd bring it to you guys to see if you had any other, suggestions for plurals. Although I can't think of any other singular word that's like that, except maybe bread, but that's not an animal. So.
Oh wow, bread doesn't have to be plural, does it?
No.
But again, like what Nick said, you can always just throw an S on it, and I've heard people do it. It's like, yeah, I need 2 breads. So, and I'm not gonna, not gonna stop you. It's okay. Do your thing. I'm all here for it. And my this question here has you dig back in your memory. And what is the first album that you bought? Vilissa, I'll start with you.
I had to be around, I was 13, and for my birthday, I got the first album of Destiny's Child and Usher's My Way.
You bought them both together?
It's a birthday gift, so. And it was my first
birthday, okay.
First set of CDs, so that what made it special. And that's why I remember when I finally got a CD player. So yeah, so those two pretty much define my adolescence and began my crush on Usher.
Is the crush still going strong, or you feel differently about him now?
Depends on what type of Usher we get. We get grown man Usher, yes. We get I forget that I'm 40 something Usher, no.
Fair assessment. Kortney, what was your first album?
So I'm not exactly sure. But I do know that my love of like film scores has been a long running one. So like even when I was younger, I could recognize that I was just really well. I guess I don't know if I recognized it then, but I knew that I loved music and I loved the scores from movies. So I distinctly remember having what was it? I think it was Aladdin. I had a cassette tape of Aladdin, the movie Aladdin soundtrack. And I also remember, so that was what, 90s, I guess, early 90s. But I also remember having the Men in Black soundtrack that I loved. And I also had like the Titanic soundtrack. I don't know that those were my first ones, but those are the ones that I distinctly remember because I wore them out. I loved them. I wore them out. Even to this day, I'll hear the songs and I'm like, old memories. So I think those were my first few couple albums or so. We're gonna go with that though. Those 3 movies
Okay.
at least.
I have to keep. I'm going to go last, but I have to keep my thoughts on your albums until my turn comes up. So, but we'll go with Neysha next.
That sounds real nefarious there.
I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it to be nefarious. It was just I'm trying to hold back, trying to conserve and wait. Yeah.
Sure.
But I'm sorry. You go, Neysha.
Okay. Very good. So for me, and I just realized this as I was trying to remember, I thought it was Janet Jackson's Control album, but that came out in 1986, and I was not born. I wasn't even a thought then, because I was born in 91. So I distinctly remember having gotten a Walkman when I was 6, and then I would listen to Nasty Girl. Like again, I probably grabbed it from my parents. I knew who Janet Jackson was, and I put it in my thing. So don't judge my parents on that. If my mom was watching this, they knew. But I think the first album I had to buy was the soundtrack for Anastasia, because Aaliyah had that one song on there, and to this day you can't find it streaming on anything still. But I remember, I want that soundtrack for this Aaliyah song specifically, and the rest of the songs on there is bomb. But yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I was thinking of you stealing, things from your parents.
It was right there. I just knew that's Janet Jackson. Put it in my backpack.
They wanted to listen to it later, but you had it.
Probably lost it. I'm so sorry, Mom and Dad.
I'm telling. Janelle, what was your first album?
I don't know what's the first album I ever bought with my own money. I don't know. But actually, Janet Jackson's Control was probably one of my earliest albums, because I remember I had the cassette tape. And so I remember playing it out. I remember we had to buy a new cassette because I think I had broke it because I would play it so much. And I think also Michael's Dangerous was in there. But in my later years, probably NSYNC. I was into them in my teen years and actually had some money to buy. And I'd go to Sam Goody or Virgin Megastore. I miss those places, but you go and comb through the stacks and see if you can find some stuff that wasn't really easy to find.
Nice. Yeah, I do have memories of, doing that too, going to look for CDs and miss it now. Well, no, actually, no, I don't. I take that back. I enjoy Spotify. Nick, what was your first album?
I think my first album was China Doll by Foxy Brown. And I had bought it from Walmart when they were doing the edited versions, but somehow my version was half edited and half unedited. It was just like a conglomerate of a mess, but I wore that CD out, and it is still to this day one of my favorite rap albums.
Nice. Yeah, I tried hard not to get music from Walmart because I really want the edited version. And I do remember the time when I was working there, and I told somebody I really would like this for Christmas or my birthday or whatever. And then they just went over there and bought it. I'm like, yeah, I didn't want it from here though, but thank you. I mean, I was still grateful. I still enjoyed the music. I just had to, listen to a couple silences here and there. But
that was a thing. I don't think we have Walmart in New York, so
yeah. They would edit their music, and apparently not thoroughly enough because Nick got one of the weird versions where it's
right. They would edit the A word, but then they wouldn't edit it the N word. I'm like, okay, this makes sense.
Interesting choice.
Right, and I'm down in Kentucky, so I'm like, interesting. Let's discuss.
Some of this can be played after 10 p.m. and some of it can't. Okay, well, that's something there. The first album I remember purchasing with my own money was the Men in Black album because I was super into Men in Black. Yes. So I was like, oh, that's why I wasn't trying to be nefarious. I'm like, gotta keep it in, hold it inside.
Okay.
And, yes. And I even came across the Score album, but I did not purchase it. The score for the Men in Black, not the Score movie or Fuji's.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were talking about at first.
Right.
Like, oh.
I didn't come across the Fugees till like a couple years later, even though they had been around. But yeah, I'm sorry, I've been ignoring the chat, and my lovely fiance Ashley has been chiming in, and she would like everyone to know that 100% from Genuine was her first album, from I guess 1999.
That was a good album.
Yeah,
it was.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Will Smith got away with a lot, I must say. Those movies weren't that great. Outside of Independence,
They weren't. They really weren't.
Men
And
in
we need to
Black wasn't
discuss.
that great. Whatchamacallit wasn't great.
Wild Wild West.
Wild West was terrible.
Terrible.
Oh my
It was god-awful.
Terrible
movie.
But it's like we
Trash,
can always
straight trash.
expect a Will Smith blockbuster with a new album every summer. It felt like you knew it was like clockwork.
Right. Well, we didn't have one. We didn't have a Will Smith album when he was in the Enemy of the State, which was,
and that was a great movie.
That was a good movie, only because he had Gene Hackman
and Regina King too, right?
And Regina King, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there was just a time where they pushed him through the mill and just said, "You just do whatever." And there's a music video with that. And
we say jump, you say how high.
Exactly. So okay. Yeah. Gosh.
I'm just trying to think what a soundtrack, or if he would do a song for something like 7 Pounds. Was it 7 Pounds? I don't know. I really didn't like that movie.
Bad one? No.
Yep.
I didn't watch that.
I didn't watch that
So
either.
sad.
That's good. You're not missing anything.
I stopped watching a lot of his films, actually.
Yeah, after
He's a
Hitch,
good
that was
actor.
pretty much it.
I loved Hitch.
Yeah, Hitch was great.
Hitch was wonderful, and that was kind of it for me.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. I
Because
like him in comedy more.
yeah, he does rom-coms really nicely, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I can only tolerate him in small doses.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
Extremely small doses.
I feel like he's got that kind of personality where it could just be a little bit too much. So, like, okay, calm down a little bit.
I think he was like, and this is me going on a little rant, him just, I guess, showboating and doing this whole step and fetch for white folks. And that turned me off. Like, even as a little kid, I'm like, oh, okay, so you're just going to do this. Let me go somewhere. Let me go to Samuel L. Jackson, because I know he's not going to do this. And this is me like 13 years old, like watching Jackie Brown or 187 or some stuff like that. Like,
I think things got a little bit dicey for him, especially when it was him versus Eminem. And, you know, he was like, oh, you know, well, I made it and I didn't curse. And Eminem was just like, okay.
Exactly.
And it was just like, you don't have to be corny, dude.
About that.
Yeah, I remember that happening, that whole beef that, or if it even was considered a beef, I don't know, but.
That made it to a thing.
Yeah. It was just a little bit like he become very, very show business in a way. You know what I mean?
Well, I do know, as we are talking about Will Smith in this way, my sister would be like, that was her first husband. And even Ashley saying that was also her boo. I've been a fan of his. Like, one of the movies I really like, and it's not because of Will Smith, is the movie Ali, because that movie introduced me to Sam Cooke. Because the first, I'll say, 10 minutes of that movie is basically a Sam Cooke concert. And I'm like, who is this guy singing? And then that just sent me on a whole, like, and this was before Wikipedia. So I actually had to go and search out who Sam Cooke was and find his albums. So if I had asked what your favorite albums would be, mine would have been Sam Cooke live at the Harlem Square Club 1963, because that is a brilliant piece of like 37 minutes that's just amazing. So that's my connection from Will Smith to Sam Cooke, which I will say, this is brought to you by the movie One Night in Miami, directed by Regina King, who co-starred with him in Enemy of the State. So there's your 6 degrees of separation. But that movie, I'm so excited about. It's coming out in, well, Christmas Day in theaters, should you dare try to find one that's open. Or Amazon Prime Video will also have it on January 15th.
The popcorn in my house is free.
Exactly.
That's right.
Well
Or
done.
not $20 for a bucket, but also I just can't. I can't do it. Like, even the idea of like, if there was nobody else in the theater but me, I could be like, did they really wipe down everything?
Right.
And I can't enjoy the whole experience.
I understand. I do understand.
I miss it though, but not that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That popcorn smell. Oh my God, I love that
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's
I'm
why.
going on a Tuesday afternoon where it's already empty, but like the discount days, and just it's the middle of the day. I miss so much, along with libraries and cafes. But that's a little different. Ugh.
I was going to include that question. What was the last movie that you saw in a theater?
God, I
Harley
think it
Quinn.
was.
Yeah.
Birds of Prey.
It was Harley Quinn when I was in. Where was I? I was in Grand Rapids when I was traveling for work, which I miss. God. Yeah. It was
My Queen and Slim.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was mine too.
I'm pissed about it.
I forget what my $11 was at 9 cents.
I'm really angry about that, actually.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
with you there. So
Yeah.
that wasn't my last movie. The movie I saw after that was Knives Out.
That was excellent, though.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
But if I tell you the last movie I saw in the theater, I'd be telling on myself. And I'm going to go ahead and do it because I did what I had to do. And the last movie I saw was Tenet in the theater. So.
Oh.
That one almost got me to go, but
Me too.
I don't know. I don't like the theater. It's like I have to go back to my parents' place to go to the theater in my hometown. But they're not really enforcing anything, so I'm just like, yeah. Well, I think they say you can wear a mask, and they're like, but it's just. I'm like, nah, it's fine. It's fine. I can wait.
Well, I went. There's only 3 people in there, myself included, and we were like at the far ends of each area. And I don't know. I kind of just forgot and got lost in the movie and trying to figure out. I was like, wait, did that just? Because it's Christopher Nolan, so you just get lost in it. And yeah, it should be coming to streaming pretty soon. But that's not what I was talking about. I was talking about One Night in Miami, where it has Sam Cooke, Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, and I think it's Jim Brown, that they all pretty much were in Miami one night, and I guess they have a conversation, or I'm not sure. I saw the trailer. I'm like, sign me up. I'm ready. Just bring it, because this is, as far as I know, the second time Sam Cooke has been shown or portrayed in a movie, and I just think he needs more recognition. I'm ready for him to have his own biopic, because everybody else has one, and he needs one. So. But we're getting closer to that. And he's played by Leslie Omar Jr. So I was like, oh, this is pretty good casting. So if they actually need him to sing, he can. Well done. Well done. So I'm looking forward to that on January 15th, directed by Regina King. So she just keeps winning. So just give her all the things. Give her Oscar right now for directing. Go ahead. So. But I'm looking forward to that. But I think that's everything that's on my list. Once again, everyone, I thank you so much for joining me for this evening and chatting with me and having fun and sharing virtual breads and all that good stuff. I'll have you all go around to give any shout outs or recommendations and where people can find you. And recommendations on things you want to, or things people should watch or read or whatever. Or even eat. Sure, why not? So we'll start with Vilissa again.
Well, I say I would recommend everybody doing something that makes them feel good during this time, because we all deserve it. Whatever self-care looks like for you. Always putting you first. You can find me on Twitter at my name, Vilissa Thompson. You can hire me as a consultant on disability activism, intersectionality, all those things that makes me a good troublemaker. And I have a Patreon that you can support for $2 a month. Out here writing, doing my thing, and just holler at me if you see me out here on these internet streets.
Awesome. Kortney?
Well, you can find me on the Twitters at I am, look at me adding an S after Twitter, but you can find me on the Twitters at I am K Hinton, where I tweet about everything from current events to, I don't know, dumb people, like, and what they do and why they're dumb. Not so much that. I just kind of side eye a lot. And plant care these days, because I'm a whole farmer now, apparently. So, but yeah, please follow me and we can chat and discuss and argue if you like. I don't have any recommendations right now. I'm currently reading, it's called The Wrath in the Dawn. The Wrath in the Dawn. I think that's what it's called. And I think her name is Renee. The author is Renee something. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But it's a good book. Do search The Wrath in the Dawn and you should be able to find that book and the author of that book as well as the sequel to it. And it's a pretty good book. I'm moving through it pretty slowly because, holidays and work and stuff. But it's a good book. I've also read the Children of Blood and Bone series. There's 2 books in that series right now, and that's very good. I highly recommend it. That's all for now.
You did say you're tweeting about dumb people, so you must have been talking about Randy Quaid and Rudy Giuliani, right?
Well, sure. Yes. Okay. Not so much Randy Quaid, but for sure Rudy Giuliani. Always.
Well, you can add him to the list. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
and
he's on the list now.
Great. Because, nonsense. Neysha.
Yeah, so y'all, if you want to find me on the Twitters or the Instagram, you can find me at Neysha Plays. It's NEYSHAPLAYS, where I post and do stuff with anime, post my cosplays, things of that nature, also my podcast. As for recommendations, right now I've just been reading a lot of manga because that's my happy place for escapism. It's been great. Just either rereading ones that I love. One that I highly recommend is Blue Flag. It's a great, love story, and it has a love quadrangle, which mess, but very good. And also anime. Again, I love escapism. I need to just take a step away. I think everybody can always use that escapism and a step away from things. So if you need something to watch on anime, watch a new anime, hit me up on Twitter. I got you. But that's it.
Great. And Janelle?
You guys can find me on Twitter at jsoabove. I usually talk about a mix of astrology and other things, random things, politics, media, all sorts of fun stuff. And my podcast with my friend Mecca, also astrology and politics as well. And come say hello. Recommendations. I always recommend Avatar, The Last Airbender, because it's a standby and a favorite. I wish I could watch Fringe again, but I can't find it without commercials. So I'm just getting old stuff, actually, because I need comfort and I don't need any surprises in my life right now. I just want to feel good. So give me the old stuff.
That's a good question. I thought I saw Fringe somewhere, but I don't think I did.
It's on Amazon Prime, but it's with ads.
Oh.
And I don't like that.
No. Sorry, I was going to go on further about that, but yeah. Nick?
You can find me on social media at I am Nikki P09. I co-host a podcast called Megashine. We dish and dissect and discuss all things gay and geek culture from a queer Black male perspective. As far as recommendations, I have 2. If you enjoy documentaries, there's a documentary on Hulu called Totally Under Control about the lack of response of the coronavirus, which I found fascinating. And if you like music, there is an album that I found, was it last year, It's called Dim Division by Miguel Miggs. It's kind of electronica, but with a touch of acid jazz or a chill vibe. If you want to chill with, like a glass of wine or whatever you drink, I highly recommend that album.
Miguel Miggs is one of my faves, so cool.
I love that album. I have been repeating that album for like a year and a half now. One of my best finds in 2019.
Nice. I think that's something you and I will have to talk again, because I know we came up with a playlist at one point, and then, but you usually have good picks and taste in music anyway, so we'll have to discuss some other recommendations.
I blame my mother. Her eclectic sound.
You can find me, see, $T Sterling Watson. Oh, wait, nope, sorry, that's my Cash App. Let's see. I lost my little thing here. Oh, recommendations. What have I been watching? I just started The Crown, finally. So, because I heard everybody talking about season 4. I'm like, well, I can't start at season 4. I need to start at the beginning. So that's been interesting. I just finished Doom Patrol. So that's been a fun watch. And yeah, The Mandalorian, which I'm kind of, yeah, I see Vilissa shaking her head. I got to listen to her podcast already, so that's what she was talking about. One of the things to bring her joy. And yes, Baby Yoda. So yes, I would recommend all those things. And I don't have any music recommendations, even though I've been listening to so much. I've switched over to my Christmas playlist, so that's what I was listening to all day today. So, and Leslie Odom Jr. has some more Christmas music out, so I'll say that. Because he already has his album, but then he kind of remixed one of them, and then he brought some more music in. I'm like, just sing your heart out. I love it. I'm here for it. And shout out also to Ken, who says to watch Beyblade. Don't know what that is, but I'm pretty sure it's for little children. So, or, 5-year-olds. So go watch that wherever that is found. Pretty sure they might tell me. I feel like that's on Netflix. I don't know where that is. Oh, and Kevin Hart's latest special. That was actually very funny. And so follow me on all things at Indoob, and go to Indoob.com. Tell someone you value that you value them. Live without regrets and live for the...
The Indoob Podcast.
Hi, Indoobians, again. Thank you so much for listening to that episode. Again, I thanks all of the people that were involved. Thank everybody who watched and listened live and went back to rewatch afterwards. I will be posting the video on the Patreon. Also, coming to the Patreon, I told a little bit of the story, but I actually finally recorded it. The Ballad of Athea. So you can only find that on the Patreon. Again, the link will be in the show notes, patreon.com/Indoob. And one additional piece, as I am recording this as of today, which is November 30th, we talked about that mysterious metal slab monolith thing that was out in the Utah desert. Well, guess what? It is now gone. The aliens came back and took it. Well, rather, there were some tire treads, so maybe the aliens drive cars, perhaps? We're not sure. But it is now gone. Only left is a metal base of where it once stood, and people have found out where it was, and people have been coming to see it, despite the fact that they didn't want to disclose where it was actually located. But, people are smart, and they're going to wander the desert to look for, aliens and whatnot. So here we are. Or... there it went. Anyway, here is a teaser of the Ballad of Athea. And with that, I have decided during the course of this episode that the Indoob Podcast will be on hiatus for at least a month. Because, as I mentioned before, I am moving, and it is the holiday season. So please, everyone, stay safe, preferably stay home, and, enjoy your loved ones, and all that good stuff. And now, without further ado, please enjoy. Moving on. Athea. met her through Coffee Meets Bagel, and we decided, not necessarily early on, but I had learned the lesson that I'm going to tell you now, that if you are going to meet anyone through a dating app, and I know like at the time of this recording, there's a whole pandemic going on, so you're not really trying to go out and meet people face to face, but you do want to get out of the texting phase of whatever dating app you're in and try to get to that, I don't know, FaceTime, talking in person, because you learn a lot more, a lot faster than what the texting can provide. Because I will tell you now that I had texted Afia for about maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, if not longer, until we actually went on our first date. And all that time, I had no idea what she sounded like until I met her. And I'm like, oh, wow, you've got a pretty strong accent that I was not ready for. But before all that, there's like a whole bunch of things that you kind of learn as you're texting. And there's nothing wrong with texting, by the way, because that is a good way to begin. I mean, like, especially if you're using these dating apps to just, try to get to know somebody. So there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. And as as we tried to learn each other, I asked her like questions about like your family. Are you close with your family? And I felt like maybe it was a bit of a red flag if her answer was just yes. And that was it. Like there was really no follow up to it. Where I think she asked me how I, get along with my family. And that could be how I asked her. And her response was just like a single one word yes with no follow up. And I felt that was weird. And I'm like, is there something wrong? Is there a miss here? I don't know. Well, moving on. But eventually we did agree to meet at a place called Texas Roadhouse. I'm not entirely sure if that's something that's all across the nation, all across the country, but it is a steakhouse that there's like one or two of them here in Connecticut. And we agreed to meet there. So the night of the date, I'm chatting with a couple of friends of mine, a few of them knowing or letting them know like, hey, this is what's about to go down. I'm going to go buy this like little gift. And, I'm a whimsical person, I like to, make a good first impression. And that's really what this is. So I stop by a store and I pick up like this little, it's just a minor gift. Who knows what can happen in the future? And this particular toy, I think it was like a little stuffed animal, maybe like a little snowman or some kind of Christmassy thing, because it is Christmas season, mind you. So it's just a little toy, just something a little to remember me by. So I go and pick this thing up. I think because I was looking for some kind of thing to bring. And I don't think that was something that was intentional, because she also brought me a gift as well. She brought me, based on our conversations that we were having, she was describing these cookies that are made by the company Walker or Walkers or whatever. It's like in a red and black box. And I don't know if they're seasonal. I don't think that they are. But they are these kind of sugar cookies or butter cookies that she really, really, really loves. Thinks they're really, really, really delicious. And I had never heard of them, never had them. And she brought me some for me to try. So, which I did not do there because we were meeting for dinner. So I'm like, well, let's just eat dinner and, enjoy that. And we went to, like I said, Texas Roadhouse. And she got there a little late. So that's fine, whatever. And this is where I learned that she has an accent as she's talking to me. So I'm like, oh, okay. So, which isn't a problem. Even if it's a strong one, that just means you have to adjust and pay attention a little more. But what I was not aware of, or what I was not privy to and prepared for, was trying to listen and kind of interpret her accent, if you will, but also in a very, very, very noisy restaurant. Now, I've been in this restaurant maybe one or two times before, but I never remembered it being this loud in particular. Like there must have been 3 or 4 birthday parties going on, just yelling and screaming and whatnot. So that was already a bit of a struggle to, I don't know, make good conversation. And normally, going out to dinner is a good time, good place to go have, conversations and learn about someone that, you may or may not want to see again. So with that said, conversation was a little, in my opinion, a bit dicey. And even when it wasn't like difficult to hear or understand what was being said, there were still some dicey moments. Thanks for listening to the Indube podcast, which was recorded from the south side of Wakanda in Little New Indubia on the corner of T'Chaka and MLK Drive, and is part of the Indube network. Want more Indube? Follow on Instagram and Twitter at Indube and on Facebook at IndubePod. You can contact us and send Ask Indube questions by emailing indubepod@gmail.com. Want to support or donate? Find the TeePublic store or become a patron on Patreon, where subscribing gives you perks and extra things from the Indube network. Please subscribe, rate, comment, and share the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, Podbean, and wherever else podcasts are found. And of course, visit Indube.com for all of this and much more. Thank you so much for letting us entertain, enlighten, and provide an auditory escape with knowledge and nonsense. Until next time.
Use your words, Chief. Good boy.
This has been another 3SFX production. Hey, dear listeners, just a gentle reminder that you can support the Indube Network by subscribing to the Indube Patreon at patreon.com/Indube.
But hold up, Sterling. I keep hearing about this website. What is Patreon?
So glad you asked. Patreon is a membership platform where subscribers can pay, fund, or donate to creators for content. In other words, if you subscribe for a small monthly fee, you can get bonus podcasts, reviews, videos, and just awesome extra goodies from the Indube Network.
So all that extra stuff we couldn't fit in this episode they're listening to right now will be on the Patreon?
Exactly, and so much more.
Oh, really? Well, where does my money go?
Well, podcasts cost money. Microphones, conferencing software, and host websites aren't free. So every little bit that a patron chips in helps produce the content they already love and enjoy. And for your contributions, based on how much you give per month, will unlock more perks to be enjoyed that are created specifically for patrons.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. So where do I go again?
Patreon.com/Indube. Browse around. Some posts are free. Most are $1, but you're free to do more and you will get more. And we at the Indube Network will certainly appreciate the help keeping the studio lights on.
That's for sure. And thank you to the patrons that are already supporting and enjoying all that extra bonus content. Like that one video where you did that one thing you said you wouldn't, couldn't, and shouldn't do.
Oh, I know. And I almost got killed to death trying to do it, but I did it and now it's done.
That was hilarious.
Good times.
Good times.